Good Sunday morning. Thank you for watching Beyond the Headlines. It's not a sprint, but a marathon. And in the second leg of this election cycle, the votes have been cast, the votes have been counted, and the candidates have been chosen until November. Now let's take a look at how the runoff races went. We start with when the polls close with total voting numbers. The final unofficial results shows over 15,000 voters turned out for the runoffs, with roughly 10,000 people casting their votes, their ballots, that is, during early voting, and the remaining 5,000 being cast on Election Day. All those votes were being cast for a few notable races, and we start with the race for Webb County Sheriff. The incumbent, Martin Cuellar, came out on top with about 58% of the vote. Cuellar beat out challenger Wyle Reese, who had just over 4,000 votes. At his campaign watch party, Cuellar took in his victory with supporters and also came on the highly popular digital news desk to share what the win meant to him this time around.
After the primaries, we noticed that there was people that were against me. It's fighting a battle not only with Wyle Reese, and I was fighting a battle with other political figures that were involved in this race.
Meanwhile, his challenger offered his own parting words with his supporters.
And I want to thank the voters that went out and voted for me today. You'll be proud of what you did.
Now in the race for Webb County Constable Precinct 4 between Rolando Roles San Miguel and Tina Guerra, San Miguel came away with the victory with 58% of the vote. That compares to Guerra, who received a little under 2,500 votes. Then we continue on to the race for State Representative District 80 on the Democratic side, going head-to-head for Tracy King's old seat, were Cecilia Castellano and Rosie Cuellar. At the end of the night, Castellano won her party's nomination with 58% of the vote, edging out Rosie Cuellar by more than 1,000 votes. And in an overlooked primary battle before Henry Cuellar's federal indictment, Jay Furman will officially seek the embattled congressman's seat for District 28. Jay Furman went head-to-head with Lázaro Larry Garza Jr. for the Republican ticket. Jay Furman came up on top as the projected winner, primarily winning the northern counties of District 28, while Garza won the district's southern counties. With the matchup set for November, the incumbent welcomed his challenger to the race while expressing some unexpected gratitude.
Several reasons. People know the work that I've done for so many years, the dollars that I produce, that I brought here, whether it's in transportation, healthcare, education, border security. And, I got to say, to the two Republicans that were running, they kept it very civil. And that's the way it should be. And I expect that our race will also be civil in November.
So that's where we're going to start our discussion this morning after the primary runoff elections. But first, let me introduce our panel. We do have Sergio Mora, former Democratic Party chair and political contributor. I forgot everybody's titles because we haven't been here in a few weeks. We have Mindy Caso, KGNS anchor, KGNS investigative reporter, KGNS podcaster as well, and former employee for Congressman Henry Cuellar as well, and Luis Villarreal, the head chief. General manager.
The captain.
Good, the captain, yeah. Good morning to all of you and welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start with the state race and with Congressman Cuellar's seat as well, because we have to remember that those are not just Webb County. Mm-hmm. And Rosie Cuellar dominated here in Webb County. She didn't win the race, though. Yeah. And the same for Lázaro Garza. He dominated Webb County, but Jay Furman won the race. And that's going to be interesting to take note of come November, because it's going to be a very, very interesting battle between Castellano and the mayor of Uvalde, Don McLaughlin, yeah. And then you've got Jay Furman taking on Congressman Cuellar. So let's start there, Sergio. Let's start with you, because I know you follow these races and you're familiar with the counties involved in these races. I mean, what are you expecting come November?
It's going to be very interesting. President Trump and Governor Abbott in their last two races against President Biden, against Beto O'Rourke, both of them carried that district in its current form. Not by a lot, but they won the district. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very interesting. A Democrat holds it right now. Tracy King has been able to hold it without any problem for a long time, but he's retiring, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Also, those two, Beto O'Rourke and President Biden, they're Anglo names. It's a very Hispanic region of the state. Castellano hopefully will draw Hispanic votes towards her. So in my opinion, it could go either way. But yeah, the Republicans have a slight edge just because of those two last races. So it's going to be really interesting.
Well, and then they smell blood in the water, especially with the indictment against Congressman Henry Cuellar. His trial isn't until next year. So there's a sense that we can flip both of these seats possibly. I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable November election, and I hope we get a much better voter turnout here in Webb County in November, because I mean, you're going to have 4 city council races. You're going to have some resolutions on there for the charter amendment. I mean, we need to get a lot of people out to vote.
They will, simply because it's a presidential year. Presidential years are the highest turnouts you could possibly get, and that's a really, really good thing for democracy, because that means a lot of people are going to vote out of their own free will. The runoffs here in Webb County, I mean, 15,000 people out of 150,000 people
And just
registered to vote.
5,000 on voting day?
And just
That was
5,000,
really,
yeah.
God, that was dismal.
Let's just speak about the apathy of people. They don't really care about, I mean, and you ask the average citizen out there, hey, did you go out to vote? Who's running and what for? And, you know, some of it you go, okay, well, I mean, I guess not everybody is interested in the things that shape our lives, because of some
The
way, shape, or
decisions
form.
made.
Now, if I was going to play devil's advocate for a minute and support those who refuse to vote, I could say, you know, I don't know, I am in my mid-50s. I've been through lots of different governments and presidents and governors, and how has my life changed because of who we elected as sheriff, or who we elected as congressman, or who we elected as president? There are very few people that are really truly affected by these positions. And reality is that our lives go on, and we have basic needs that need to be met, and most people are interested in meeting those needs. So I don't know. Maybe we make too much out of all these things, and it's just fodder for us to be talking here and have some people watch us on Sunday. But does it really matter? Does it matter to us who the sheriff is?
It does.
How?
Because there are leaders. They're who the community turns to give their opinion about everything.
What community?
Huh? Here, like you don't see where they're like, okay, we got the opinion of the superintendent to see what he thinks about Afghanistan and stuff like that. I mean, there are community leaders. I don't agree with that a lot of times, but there are community leaders, and the policies that they implement, obviously, are we safer? Is there crime? You know, it is important. But what I always say is, specifically, like, because of the people we don't elect, the people that don't win, the people that don't run, what have we been missing out in terms of, like, good, enlightened leadership? And we sort of...
So you're agreeing that we have never, are you saying that we have never elected an enlightened person?
No, we have great public servants, but the thing is, we have many that are not, that shouldn't be there.
I want to step in here because I'm getting counted down,
years,
and Mindy hasn't really said anything. So your take on the runoff, and then on what's coming in November, Mindy?
No, you know, I wanted to go back to the Tracy King race, because I agree with you, Sergio. I think it is a toss-up. The mayor from Uvalde was very popular, Don McLaughlin, and I think that seat could easily switch over to Republican seat. Tracy was very conservative Democrat. But Ms. Castellano seems like a very viable candidate, and hopefully, you're right, you know, she does bring out the vote, but I think that for that seat, it can go either way. As far as the voter turnout, 5,000, we didn't even make double digits, and I just feel like, you know, the apathy and like what you said, Luis, does it really matter who these candidates are? I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if they do a good job and if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and keeping us safe and protected.
I want to say something about what really matters, and the District 28 race, Congressman Cuellar's seat. I think that one matters quite a bit. And unfortunately, that district and the way it's drawn, it's very, the needs of that district are very different.
Yeah.
All across the
All
district.
across, right?
Yeah.
And we have been so lucky as the city of Laredo to have had Congressman Cuellar up there and really paying attention to the needs of our community. That whether, I think it's going to be difficult for us to have such a big partner come November if he does not get reelected. I don't think the people of Laredo realize, the general population realizes how important Congressman Cuellar's job has been and how instrumental it has been
In funding,
and
in our
funding
transportation
for our
industry.
for a lot
everything.
of things. And so, listen, I'm not going to get into let the trial play itself or the charges and whatever. I mean, and we'll see what it gets. Outside of that, I'm still, I was, kind of joking around whether or not it matters. And I think there are certain positions. I think who's sheriff, but who our congressman in Washington is, or who our representative in Austin is, those two things matter.
Yeah. And the reason for that, and Sergio, you can attest to it because we both, have worked for elected officials. The reason for that is because at the end of the day, seniority matters for funding. I mean, that's how you get the funding down to your district. And
I need to put a bow on it, just to follow up on the Cuellar indictment. There has been the House Ethics Committee is launching an investigation, so we need to note that. That's something that's definitely, that was just this past week. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. And we didn't really talk about the sheriff race, but I really don't think it was much of a surprise that Sheriff Cuellar is still the sheriff. You could tell at the end of the night, he was not necessarily relieved. I think he probably knew he was going to win, but he really let loose on a lot of things that he had to deal with, according to him, during the election. So, and obviously the constable race, that was a seat that Harold Navalny left vacant. So, okay, we're going to move on. When we come back, a first in American history, the conviction of an American president. We'll discuss what that means for our country and the presidential race in November when we come back. Well, last Thursday, former President Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 felony charges he faced in the so-called hush money case against him. Prosecutors charged him with falsifying business records in an attempt to cover up hush money payments that he made to Stormy Daniels in a scheme they believe was to illegally influence the 2016 election. The jury reached the unanimous verdict after 9.5 hours of deliberation. Trump is the first former president to be convicted of felony crimes. Afterwards, Trump told reporters he is innocent and that this trial was a disgrace. He's expected to appeal the verdicts, but for now, a sentencing date has been set for July 11th, just days before the Republican National Convention. And so that's where we pick up the second leg of this show. And with this discussion, what's interesting to me is that everyone was saying, especially on the Democrat side, that this wasn't the trial that was going to find him guilty. Everybody seemed to think there were much stronger cases. He's got other cases pending. Everybody thought there was much stronger cases, Serge. I mean, I think that seemed to be the sentiment. And yet, guilty on 34 counts. Yeah. I think that was, to me, more surprising.
Yeah, I mean, he has a bunch of legal troubles, a lot of criminal. There's 2 more criminal cases coming up. I think ultimately it's the American justice system, and it's independent of everything. I mean, he says that this was a witch hunt and this was politically motivated. I think attacks on our justice system are just they're not good, not beneficial. The Democrats aren't getting anything from this. This guy, if the judge does sentence him to prison on July the 11th, he pays bail, he gets out, he appeals, and the appeals isn't going to be heard till way after the election. And a lot of these criminal cases aren't going to be heard for way after the election. He could very well get elected president and then go back to trial. That's unheard of. It's never happened. But the thing is that, like, there's a lot of Democrats that are giddy about this, but because they like Trump getting it, But at the same time, politically, it sort of blends all his legal troubles and his accusations, and it's just more of the Trump chaos. Personally, I wish this weren't happening, but I mean, if you do a crime, you have to pay.
Well, and that's what we were talking
crime?
about, earlier, that, the jurors were chosen. We knew that some of the jurors didn't want to be there because they were worried about repercussions. They heard all the evidence and they came to a decision. My thing is that, of course he called it a disgrace and a witch hunt and all of that, but had it gone the other way, he would have said, oh my God, we have the best system in the whole world,
He's been
thank
calling
you.
it a disgrace and a witch hunt even before it started. I don't think
we were surprised about his reaction to it.
So was Merrick Garland
but-
ever in the courtroom?
I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention.
Okay.
I just knew that this guy
So
was
why would
falling
Merrick Garland be
asleep.
in the courtroom if it was not if it was just a simple
I
New
know that-
York city thing? What
I
would
know
Merrick
that
Garland be in
Dan
there?
Patrick was there, the lieutenant
Well, yeah,
governor
no,
of
those are in
Texas.
support of. Okay, so who
Yeah.
was Merrick Garland in support of? What was he doing there?
This is the first time I hear Merrick Garland was there.
So, and let me ask you another thing.
I
is
feel
this
like I'm,
really a good
being
thing?
Cross-examined.
What?
So when every convicted felon says that he's innocent and that the system doesn't work, and every time, and if it's always
not like
bothered,
we
it's
all would
always
say.
bothered me that the system only works when you
it
get
goes
what
in
you
your
want.
favor,
So
right.
I don't think that's different from anybody.
You go to prison right now, and they're all the inmates are going to tell you
They're going to
innocent.
innocent. So I don't think we can sit here. The reality is the justice work. The system of justice works in
Yes.
our country. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. What my problem is, I have three problems. The first one is everything you do, whether it's in business or in politics or in your personal life, you weigh the cost of something against what you're going to get out of it, the price of the prize. And was this price, the price that we have paid to do this, what are we getting out of it? What is the punishment that this guy's going to get? What?
Like the maximum is 4 years, but the thing
Okay,
is, like,
so most people are saying
meaning he's gonna get a
saying
fine
that
or probation.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So then what? Can he not run for president because he's a convicted felon?
I don't think so.
He can. There's nothing in the Constitution
Okay.
that prevents him from running as a convicted felon. So what is it? What is the lesson to be learned for him? So wasted money, if you ask me.
Well, unless the lesson learned was you just can't do that. He broke
The lesson
a
learned
law,
is you break the
know,
law
You break the
and
law
what?
and you have
You
to
go
go
to
through
court.
the judicial
And
system.
what?
That's
you
it.
know.
And what?
There's no way around
it's
it.
Just,
Yeah, but
it's,
what? What
it's
is
a
the
message
punishment?
to others not to do
Hurt
it.
me in some way, hurt me financially, prevent my freedom. There is no cost for Donald Trump.
Well, unless
other than the
they're
expense
going
of
to fine
defending
him
himself.
and maybe he
How
pays.
much?
I mean,
What?
him being a convicted felon might not affect him terribly, but any other person who's a convicted felon
I
will
get
have
it.
trouble
All right.
finding
You
jobs.
can't vote if you're a convicted felon, can you?
He can run for president. That's all I can tell you. I've researched it. I am convinced. I have read the Constitution. There's nothing in
But
there that
okay,
tells
but
you
then
that he
do you
cannot.
just not? You don't bring charges against someone who
Bring charges against
broke the
what?
law.
When you bring charges, when you're a district
You just
attorney
let
and you
it
bring
go?
charges, is you want to punish somebody for doing it. What is the
No,
punishment?
Well, the
you don't want to. It's
punishment
not
is-
a punitive thing. It's
It's
like, okay,
not.
these are the laws,
And
and
you
if you do
broke it.
this happens. If you do
And
this,
what
this
happens?
happens.
That's
If
what
you
I'm
run
asking.
if you run a red
you
light,
go-
this
if I'm a-
happens.
if I'm a
You want
political
to
advisor.
talk about the district attorney, and this is where a lot of people had issue with, at least on the Republican side. Alvin Bragg, before he was even elected, said he was going to
Without even
go
charging
after
him.
Trump.
But-
I mean, so I think that's where it gets murky. And then you said the Democrats don't get anything out of this. I mean, Joe Biden can now officially say from here until November, he's a convicted felon.
Yeah, but
I mean,
they're
and
talking
so how
about
do they not-
should they bring it up, because this
Oh, they'll
makes
bring
him
it
a
up.
martyr.
I tell you-
Fundraising went through the roof for Trump when this was
Yeah,
announced.
I'm telling you, they have done more good for electing Donald Trump with this than anything. So I
That's
may
why
agree
the
with you.
Democrats don't get anything
That's
in
right.
terms of
so if I'm a
positive-
political strategist, which I'm not, and if President Biden would ask for my advice, I would say you go on TV this morning and you pardon Donald Trump.
I
Right now,
wouldn't go
today,
that far.
I would pardon him. I would
No,
Didn't
pardon.
go
he's
too well
still-
for Gerald Ford. did
I
it?
would pardon. I would pardon Donald Trump.
No.
Because that would make
Irrelevant.
that would make this whole thing irrelevant. It would take the teeth off, and I would be. You know what? I pardon you. Let's just debate on the issues here, not on whether or not you're a convicted felon or you paid somebody to keep a secret or whatever.
But
it was,
the thing is, it's not paying somebody to keep a secret. It's campaign finance.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you're going to
no,
use
sir.
money for your
No,
campaign,
sir.
it has to be
read
reported.
read any of the charges and tell me where it's campaign finance charges,
It's
because
election- the whole thing
that
is
had
campaign
that
finance
had
related.
teeth.
It's election interference.
Yeah.
Election
Exactly.
interference, not campaign finance. They had
Campaign
more of a
Okay.
case
The
about
money,
campaign finance than they
money
did
that
this.
he used
It's
was
his money.
to influence the
It was
election.
his
They're
money.
playing the music. I'm up against it now. When they play the music, I have nothing to
He
do.
broke the
I
law.
can't do
He broke the
anything.
law. He has to
Okay.
pay the price.
Well, we
What
come
is
back
the
to the
price?
one
That's
thing
what I'm
our
asking.
panelists cannot stop
Embarrassment.
talking about. Or thinking. Okay, welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's the one thing our panelists cannot stop thinking about. Serge?
Well, as you know,
Book of the club.
there's
I mean,
no,
book of the
there's
club.
no
No
book
books
today.
today.
There's plenty of conflict going on in the world today. You have Israel, you have Ukraine, and now North Korea has attacked South Korea. They sent balloons full of feces and waste across the border, and South Koreans are like, okay, what is this, man? Like, like what's going on?
Wow.
And I think that's psychologically worse than
That's-
like a missile attack, because I mean, who does that and why is that going
That's
on?
crazy.
So he said it's defending its freedom of expression, and I don't know, man.
Kim
North Korea
Jong-un's
do-
sister is behind this, or is it Kim
She
Jong-un?
she is supposedly being groomed to take over.
Wow.
And supposedly she's not a very nice person.
Wow.
Not as nice as he is.
They're both not nice.
Oh, okay. Nice people.
you go ahead.
Okey doke. Well, my one thing is not anything like that. I just wanted to say congratulations to all the graduates. And I wanted to highlight one little tradition that was not there when we were all graduating from high school. But I love this. I love that the seniors get to go back to their elementary school and do a parade, just kind of inspiring the young ones
we
there in
know
the
that
elementary
person there?
school.
Is that what we
That
still
was
know?
Mikey. That was my Mikey graduating. And I just, and especially that they get to go back in their cap and gown. So you can, that's why you see, obviously a lot of them went to Alexander because Colonel Santos feeds into Alexander, but you have a lot of United High School kids that went over to United High School because of the engineering program or for whatever
I see
reason.
very little orange there.
No, there was a few there. So,
one.
kudos to the districts for allowing this to happen. I think it's a great motivating factor and nice to be able to go back to your elementary school where it all started.
Luis?
So.
Talk about believing you're innocent. I'm sure you've seen this by now.
Yeah.
Into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
So the thing is, this guy is on trial.
His license is suspended.
Yeah.
Right now, at this second, yes, I am.
Look at the judge.
What are you doing? So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driver while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
And you can't
And
see
he's
his
still
face,
driving.
but he's so incredulous.
He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
Anyway, so this guy is driving on a suspended license. He's got a hearing and he's driving
Right.
and suing with the judge.
Look at his face, because it just hits him. It hits him
I'm on
how
camera.
badly he messed up. Yeah.
Anyway,
oh,
that's
just for the record, they did send him back to jail after that happened.
Good.
He drove
Yeah.
himself to jail, though.
He did?
All right, I know Luis talked about this a few weeks ago. The Laredo Heat have entered a new era. They have their new home. And I thought this was funny. I loved some of the signs that they were posting on their social media. Heat's defenses is tougher than the traffic on Loop 20. They're really going to get into this brand new stadium that they really kicked off last night. TP's after
TP's
the
after the
game.
game.
I thought this was just really funny. You can tell they're going to own this brand new home. It's a wonderful thing for the city of Laredo. Congratulations again for
Taco Bell.
their accomplishments, Laredo Heat. And these were just really clever social media
Very
posts.
cute.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all very much. Thank you all for watching. Have a blessed Sunday.
Mexico votes for president today also.
Oh, goodness.
Wow.
First woman president.
On a Sunday?
Because it's just a woman versus woman, so
Yeah.
it'll be a woman.
Our mic's even on?
Yeah, we say goodbye. Can we say goodbye?